especially in a world that feels so uncertain. And I'd say this to both of you. You spoke a lot about mental health in the pandemic as well. But what advice would you give to others dealing with similar challenges, especially in a world that feels so uncertain? From Heather.
Ooh. God,
That's a great question.
I mean, it is really hard to be sane in this world today, I think. I think you need to find people you trust and community and emphasize. I mean, I really do try. I have a crazy voice message on my phone right now that says, okay, hello people, joy and beauty are my tools of resistance to these times we're living in. I'd say find 1 or 2 or 10 people that you trust that really know you, that you can...
This is still her voice message.
Yeah. I'd say find those people and try and, swim through the debris and the fear and focus on some joyful possibilities that you might have and that you might have for the world, and then act on them, because it just feels better than despair and anguish every second. And I just think that's a practice of some positive aspect of your life, as well as finding some positive thing. There's a great book called Good Things in the World That's Happening Today. I recommend it. I mean, it's really helpful, guys. It's not hippy-dippy stuff. It's not to pretend hippies. I love them. But it's...
What about you, Dan?
Well, I've spent my life struggling with mood issues. And my family paid a price for it at times. I paid a price for it at times. People I worked with paid a price for it at times. I worked very hard at it with a wonderful therapist. At times I was on 5 different medicines. I worked harder at it than anything I've ever known. And at one point I took all medicines, and if you need medicines, you must take them. But I just needed to put them in the toilet at one point and carry on without. And then I found, I had 2 wonderful therapists. One, Mary, who we both had as a couples therapist, and she was just wonderful for us in so many ways. And she taught me how to be quiet a little at times and listen more to you. And then I had, she passed on, and then I was blessed with another person. And I'll tell you what this other person has taught me, because it is what I try to live at this moment. And it's to not try to fix everything. We try to fix everything in our lives. It's literally called a fix. You fix it with food, sex, you quit a job to fix things. Nation states fix things with wars and killing people.
Try to.
Try to. Yeah, they say. I had 2, one acquaintance, which was Philip Seymour Hoffman, and the other was Robin Williams, who was a classmate, schoolmate of mine. And he was just so beautiful at school. He was the kindest person in the school. He would come to our different shows that he wasn't even in our class, and he would just be a cheerleader. He was just breathtakingly kind and incredibly insecure. And at a certain point, my doc said to me, or I don't remember where this analogy came from, but mom and dad say to your baby, when the baby falls down and has a boo-boo, let me kiss it and make it go away. Well, kiss it's fine, but let the pain be there. Don't say make it go away. It's okay, it's part of being alive. And to realize that these moments that we have that are scary, frightening, feelings that we cannot bear are feelings, and they evaporate, and they disappear. A moment later, a minute later, an hour later. I'll never understand, to my death, how come Robin, in the time that it took him to life couldn't find a time to recover. But I've heard different theories, and there are many things in this world I don't understand. But I just encourage us all to think of the difficult moments that we have as gifts. And I don't mean to be corny, but you learn nothing when it goes well, pat you on the back, you go away. You learn everything when it's a rough time. You tumult it over and over again, and you kind of shine that trouble until it's like a diamond. And you have it forever as one of the great lessons of your existence. And you wouldn't know who you were at that moment, at this moment in my life, at the moment that you get to live, the next moment, right now. You wouldn't know who you were without those difficult times. And I wouldn't trade them for anything in the world, and some of them were unbearable. But they are who I am. And to just try to also remember, and I tell this to students.
I love the polishing the trouble until it becomes.
I never said that
diamond.
before. I never thought of it, but it just came to me. And I say to students, when I have the privilege of talking to them at schools, different schools, I say, listen, we're in this room together, not because we're special. I said, and not because we're better than the brain surgeon or the ditch digger, or the garbage man, or the teacher, or anybody on this planet. But we do share something that every human being has, which is a sensitivity to the human condition. And I say to these kids who have ended up in an art school, if there's one thing I think we have in common, and I think a lot of people have it, not just those in art school, and so I think it's universal, but it is a greater or a more intense sensitivity to the human condition. And unfortunately, when you look at the list of people who have chosen to leave this planet because they couldn't bear what the human condition was doing to humanity, and who's on that list, it gives you pause. And I beg you all that whether it be you or your children or your loved ones or your grandchildren or anyone, to encourage them, if they have a moment like that, teach them it will pass. Most of the time. Sometimes it's a deep illness. It requires medicine. It requires all kinds of levels of help. There's a huge umbrella here. But in most cases, that difficulty will pass. And call me. And call your friend, your teacher, the student sitting next to you, the person who taught you in the class, a buddy who played basketball or soccer or ultimate frisbee with you. Find those people as you walk through life and remember them and put their names down where you won't lose it.
That's been my advice to you sometimes.
You give me that advice.
When you've had a hard time, you sometimes